What's happening, guys? So Nate back here, and in today's video, I'm gonna tell you the top 10 things I learned while making $4 million in the last 2 years. All of that coming up right now. All right, guys, so I thought I would give you a little bit of my thoughts, what my mental state was as I built my e-com business, as I built my print-on-demand business, right? And when I made $4 million, what are my actual thoughts and feelings about that entire process over the 2 years that it took to do that, and the things that I learned while making that happen, from going to basically not much money a day. In 2 years, I'm making close to $40,000 a month profit. It's a big success story, but also a learning process too. The number one thing that I want to emphasize about this is it sounds like a lot of money. $4 million. What? But really, realistically, it's not that much money now. My perception has changed dramatically. From money-wise, I used to think $100 was a lot because I could go buy, whatever for $100. Now, it'll be lucky if I go a day without spending $100. And I don't even know what I spend. I have no idea what I spend that money on. So money becomes a bigger amount of money seems like smaller amounts. That's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens is, from a business perspective, from something that you're thinking you're making all this money, well, one of the things that happens is your business expenses get increased dramatically. Everything expands, not just expenses, but problems too. So the first thing on my list here is actually problems. I said everything expands, problems. Little things become really, really big. For example, when we were growing the team, right, I didn't realize that we were falling behind on customer support tickets on our print-on-demand store. And that store, we were 10 tickets behind for this 1 week. And then we ended up being 15 tickets behind a day on the next week. And then 20 tickets behind a day. And then 50 tickets behind a day. And then 100 tickets behind a day. And before anybody would even told me, no joke, it was over a month, right? 2 months before I was even noticed, hey, you know what, Nate, we're kind of behind. I think you should hire someone else to help us. We had a team of 3 and that wasn't enough. And so when I looked into it, because I already had customer support team, I thought they were taking care of it. But when I looked into it, we were 5,000 tickets behind, 5,000 ticket. We were getting 300 to 400 tickets per day, and it was insane. We were more than 2 weeks behind in tickets. And I'm like, what is happening? And so that was a really, really bad, because here's what happens when you don't answer customer support tickets. Customers complain on Facebook. They complain to the Consumer Protection Agency, which happened, and I was audited by the Consumer Protection Agency because there was a period of time where I was so far behind on tickets. We were answering tickets 2 weeks later, and then when we answered, they didn't see that we answered them, so they thought we never answered them. And then there was all these complaints, and then other people see other people's complaints, and then the next thing you know, you're getting audited by the Consumer Protection Agency, and they pull all your books, all your records, everything. I got a subpoena in the mail because I was actually not at a physical location. They subpoenaed my business LLC address. They had my what do you call it? I don't forgot the name. Whoever accepts my mail, and they scan my mail and they do all the mail for my business. They have to hand over all the records. I have to hand over every single customer, every single address, every single phone number, everything in order to make sure, and then prove that I was actually, doing a legitimate business. They want to make sure that I was not scamming everybody and selling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of sale. Well, not okay. So 200,000 worth of sales, 200,000 customers. They wanted to make sure that I wasn't scamming 200,000 customers. They needed to do their research. So they did the little audit, and they gave me a list of 25 customers that complain directly to consumer. Now, like my BBB rating, right? My Better Business Bureau rating, it was like complete garbage. I mean, like complete F-, never never replied to any of the complaints. When the complaints come in the mail, I toss them out. Now, I have another feeling about the BBB anyways. Like the BBB is a garbage institution. It's not a government institution, but the Consumer Protection Agency is, so you have to do what the Consumer Protection Agency wants you to do. But for the BBB, they're a business, right? They're in to make money. And so I don't care even though consumers believe in the BBB and they trust what the BBB says, I'm like, whatever, like I don't care. You're just trying to exploit me for money. Basically, my whole point is small problems become big problems, and everything just compounds extremely. And you got to take care of small problems fast in order to make sure that they get solved. Otherwise, things will get out of hand. And this is an example that got out of hand. Now, how did that story end? I proved that those 25 customers were refunded, and that was the only 25 customers out of that complained directly to the Consumer Protection Agency. And then because that was only 25, and I had caught up on my customer support by that already, and all of the other 200,000 customers were fined, everything was dropped. There was no problem. I wasn't fined or anything, but I took care of that problem, right? But it became a problem. Okay, so another thing I learned was you need a team. I cannot do this all by yourself. If you're gonna grow a real business, you need a team. Do not expect that you're gonna sit in your pajamas at your computer, print $4 million and do it all by yourself and collect the 100% of the profits. You're just not gonna happen. You gotta have a team. You gotta grow your business if you wanna actually keep it, right? If I wanted to sit in my pajamas and make $4 million, that Consumer Protection Agency would be fining me or suing me because I would have been scamming all those customers because I didn't do the support tickets. But I proved that I did the support tickets. I proved that I refunded the customers that complained, and so that was taking care of things as a real business. So make sure that you have a team. Make sure you grow your business. When you make sure you get the help when you need the help, very important, and that is definitely a big factor when you're growing and scaling. Is build your team for customer service, team for scaling out campaigns, team for building out pages, for new websites, whatever it is that you need that actually will help you physically grow. Get team members in place to do those things. Another thing that I learned was that profits shrink dramatically. You think you're making, if you do all your numbers, okay, my product cost and my ad cost are whatever. Let's say I have a 40% margin, profit margin. I have 40% profit margin. What you do not realize, and this is something I realized, was when you're hitting scale, when you're pumping out a lot of orders, everything eventually will catch up, and you're like, okay, so I never calculated average order. I never calculated average refund rate. So that's, if I'm doing 300 orders a day, well, guess what? Now I have $100 in refunds a day on average from previous orders, and then everything just keeps snowballing, and it's $100 average refund every single day. Okay, so there goes $100 profit. That sucks. Okay, what else do I got? Oh, all right, I gotta hire more staff. Okay, obviously that's more expense. I have mistakes. So sending something wrong or getting something that was delivered broken or whatever, I gotta resend, more expense. So maybe another $100, $200 a day. Yeah, so like you think your profit is 40% with all of this other stuff, and your profit starts shrinking, not 40%, maybe only 25% then. You know, you're gonna lose a big chunk of profit when you're scaling. And then when you're scaling ads too, you're not maintaining the same cost per purchase. Now you're scaling your ads and your cost per purchase also shrinks. So now you're, instead of 40%, now you're at 30%, but then you also the additional cost, now you're only down to 20%. So this is definitely stuff that happens and you don't foresee it right away, but then when you realize that all of the expenses with business and scaling and running campaigns on Facebook ads, and it's like, well, I'm not making as much money as I really thought I was making. But it's part of the business, and you got to run a real business and make sure that everything is rocking and rolling. And this is just part of the process and understanding. This is why I'm telling you, because this is stuff that I've learned while doing this. Another thing, but on the opposite side of the expenses, I realized you can save big money by lowering your transaction costs. So I told another story about how you can save like $50 to $100 per day in transaction cost which is awesome. And go check out my video how I told the story about how you can go do that. You basically walk into your bank, and you get a new merchant account through your bank, and you make a deal for better transaction fees. So you can definitely do that. That's something I learned, and it helps save money. Another thing I learned is the power of upsells, one-click upsells, not just front-end upsells, not complementary products, but not related products, but actual one-click upsells. So they have already typed in their credit card, and they have an option before the thank you page to click a button to add more things to their order. That is something that has been extremely beneficial for me. It makes so much more money, and that is something that you should definitely do. It helps make all the things that we just talked about, increase cost, the lower margin while scaling. It helps make that pay for itself, or at least whatever, you make more money because you're offering upsells. So the next thing on my list for things that I have learned is do not mess with the Facebook pixel. The theory with the Facebook pixel is very simple. Give it the Facebook pixel the same information over and over and over again. Do not be jumping around to new products and new niches or whatever, or do not be doing new setups on your page for types of funnels or whatever. Just stick with one thing over and over and over and over again. So if that's a single product store, you can have multiple niches, then you train your pixel for that single product. Or you have a single niche store and you have multiple products, and you can do that too. I have a whole video about this. I recommend you watch it. It's called The Last Pixel. Basically, my whole point is the pixel is very sensitive to new information. You want to give it the same type of information over and over and over again. It's going to help you optimize, and things will work a million times better when you do that. If you're running Facebook ads, you want to make sure you give Facebook the same type of data over and over. Do not let things unoptimized just because it's trying to use new information to better optimize it when it's not actually going to help you. So definitely go watch my other video. That was something I learned big time running and scaling campaigns. Another thing I learned, which was sales trends. There are definitely good times and bad times with Facebook ads. Now, this is not just because of algo. This is actually because of time of the year. So summer months are low months. And another thing I learned was everybody talks about, hey, December is the best time of the year. You're gonna make the most money during December. Christmas time, Thanksgiving, everybody's buying for the holidays. Well, that is the complete opposite of what I've experienced. CPMs get so expensive and there's so much competition during December that sales drop a lot. I was thinking I was gonna have an amazing December, and for the past 3 years, my Decembers have always been jack shit worst months of the year, not because conversions are higher. Conversions are higher, but because CPMs are so high, it doesn't make up for the higher conversions, and the competition is insane, and sales are normally 50% what they normally are during the month of December, and that's how my normal trend has been. Now, this is definitely going to be different for other people. Do not say that it's going to be like this for everybody. From my personal experience, this is what I've learned. Everybody says you're going to make more money in December. I always make less money, and that's just what I have experienced. So the next thing is, well, we already talked about increased costs. Like I said, having a real office, right? But having a real office helps you manage staff. If you try to manage people through online, if you're hiring people through Upwork or through online virtual assistant websites or whatever, and you do not know them, if you never met them in person, it's gonna be exponentially harder to manage them and teach them and talk to them and get them to do what you want. So if you have virtual assistants, then I recommend you meet them in person so that there's a personal connection, and the relationship between you and them are going to be a million times better. Definitely meet them in person if you do not have an office. If you do have an office, obviously it's the best situation, and you have an office in a headquarters, and you can actually have people work in the office, and you can sit down with them at any time, and you can get the exact instructions you need for them to do when you need it, and it gets done. So many times I'll hire virtual assistants, and I give them instructions, and 2 weeks later, when it could have been 1 hour later. It's just not efficient as much. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have online staff. I have many online staff that work in the Philippines, and they are really, really good. And I've gone and met some of them before, so there's that personal connection. And plus, they see me on my YouTube videos too, so everything's good like that. Definitely recommend having an office if you're growing your team, because having them in person, being able to teach them and train them is going to be exponentially better for your business. This, guys, is the end of my list. This is stuff that I have learned while running and scaling my business. I recommend you take notes of these. These are going to help you. If you want more videos about print on demand, running Facebook ads, online stores, e-com stores, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.